wanted to come back to the decision to take Saudi Arabia, the Saudi-led coalition, off the list of children in armed conflict. You probably saw the reaction of a lot of human rights groups. They see it as the UN caving in to Saudi pressure, and we're also a bit perplexed about what happened yesterday when at the briefing we were told that the report stands and there would be some minor adjustments, and then they were taken off the list. How can you update it on this?
Well, I think we all agree that the report stands. The substance of the report has not changed. The body of the report, I think, to anyone who reads it, provides an extremely alarming picture of the suffering of children in Yemen and the failure of all sides, including the coalition and non-state actors alike, to protect children from war in Yemen. I think the numbers that are in the report, I think show a six-fold increase in the number of children who were killed or maimed in 2015 as opposed to 2014. The facts in the report are what the Secretary General believes is credible, verified information gathered from a number of sources, often collected in very difficult circumstances. And I think we all very much appreciate the documentation, the important documentation of the terrible human costs that we're seeing in Yemen. The sole change is in the annex. As I said through a statement yesterday, the Secretary General has removed the Saudi-led coalition from the list in the annex. We expect that information should be provided to us by the coalition, and we will then review it. The Secretary General has decided to do this to give the coalition an opportunity to present information that coalition members insist is important to our analysis. I think at every attack against civilians, every attack against civilian infrastructure, the Secretary General has spoken out forcefully, has condemned it, and has always called for an investigation. The Secretary General notes that the Security Council plans to discuss this report in August. He expects that any coalition information should be provided well ahead of that time to give time for a needed review.
Follow up? Just quickly, but why not keep them on the list until you finish this review? It just seems like it preempts your findings. No. And the other thing is, do you stand by that 60% figure in the report?
We stand by everything that is, every fact and figure that is in the report. The decision to take them off is obviously, as we've said, is pending. We will review the information that they will provide, and we're waiting for them to provide us information. Michelle?
Thanks, Steph. Is it not standard procedure, though, to leave someone on a list pending a review rather than removing them from the list? And did the UN consult at all with the Saudis or any other members of the coalition before publication of this report?
I'll be honest, not for once, but I will be honest. I think we're not in the standard operating procedure area anymore. The Saudis were consulted regularly, if not quarterly, by the Office of the Children in Armed Conflict, its representative's office, and they were consulted throughout this process. Mr. Lee.
So yesterday you'd said we have received démarches from Saudi Arabia and others regarding the inclusion of the Saudi-led coalition in the annex. Who are those others? Have you received démarches from any other countries or entities that are part of the annex? And can you just describe the same between 1 o'clock or whenever the briefing was, and when you said it stands, and your statement at 4 o'clock? What exactly happened? Just to understand how the office operates, to have a pretty serious reversal of policy.
I don't think it's a reversal of policy. It's the world turns, the situation evolves, and that was the decision that was taken. There have been contacts from Jordan, from the UAE, and others.
U.S.?
Not that I'm aware. And we have not been contacted by anyone else who's listed in other parts of the report.
And if they'd get the same treatment and hearing?
As I said, I'm not going to speculate, but as I said, we've not been contacted by anyone else. Masood.
Yes, Stefan, yesterday the Saudi ambassador was very clear that the decision to take it off the list is irreversible. And also my question is that there was Israel, which was supposed to be placed on this blacklist, but was also not placed. Under which pressure? What was the pressure that worked in favor of Israel and did not work in favor of Saudi Arabia?
Yeah, I don't want to relitigate last year's report. Last year's report was published. There's now a new report. The Saudi representative said what he said. I'm trying to explain as clearly as possible our position. I think you should ask those questions of him. I can only speak for the Secretariat.
So what about Israel? Why was it not placed? Because that was part of the whole report.
Again, we're talking about the Saudi-led coalition, the report. I would urge you to look at the content of the report. Yes.
Yeah, yesterday, the Saudi representative said categorically that no cluster bomb ammunition was used in Yemen, whereas the cities in Yemen are littered with these bomblets. And of course, we have videos, pictures, and Human Rights Watch reports and other reports confirming that. What does the United Nations say about this?
We have in the past, and we will continue to condemn the use of cluster bombs. Edie?
Here, the issue is, did Saudi Arabia coalition use these bombs, or the Yemenis inflicted that upon themselves?
Again, I refer you to what I just said. Edie?
Stefan, a follow-up on the Saudi ambassador, on the Saudi ambassador's statement that basically they will never go back on the list. If this pending review substantiates what you say the Secretary General are the findings that the Secretary General stands by, will Saudi Arabia be put back on that list?
We will see what the review is, and then we will adjust the list as needed. Carol?
Can you talk a bit about the report? I mean, how did you arrive at that figure of 60%, which they say is wildly
The
exaggerated?
report, which Ms. Zarougi's mandate comes from General Assembly resolution. The methodology, the research, the MRM, the research mechanisms that they have were outlined in, I think, Security Council Resolution 1612. So there is a well-established mechanism of review of the facts on the ground, and that's how they arrived at the figure. So I would encourage you to look and read through the report, look at the methodology. This is not the first such report. We've been publishing for a number of years, and once again, we stand by the figures that are in the report.